It's kind of windy out here. It's kind of windy out here. It's kind of windy out here.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I want to tell all you parents to stop using drugs. Don't do drugs. You might think that shit is cute and you're having fun, but it's not cute. You know why? Because it fucks your kids up. And then your children will start acting like me, saying things like,
it's kind of windy out here. It's kind of windy out here.
yo, that's what this dude was saying at Starbucks. He was just sitting there minding his business and he just kept saying,
it's kind of windy out here. It's kind of windy out here.
And another thing I want to talk about is, you know, I hate when people watch the news and then they come on, you know, they come outside and they talk about how hard the times is. And I'm talking about people in my neighborhood in particular. You know, like, ain't no shame, man. I grew up rough. I remember we used to have to, it used to be so cold in the apartment, you would have to get dressed up just to go to bed. I remember opening up the refrigerator and there was nothing in there to eat. I remember going to the store and getting $1 worth of spice ham and $1 worth of cheese. I remember going in the refrigerator and making a wish sandwich. You had 2 slices of bread, wish you had some meat. And I remember, like, back in the days, all we used to eat was white bread. You know, and then I got older and realized that white bread is not necessarily good for you. And we didn't eat the ends off the bread. But, like, nobody liked the first slice of bread and nobody liked the last slice of bread. And it's funny how, like, when you got food, you would pick through the bread and leave the ends. But when your ass got hungry, you would eventually eat them ends. And it was funny, like, you would roll up the wrapper and put the bread back. And then, like, the bread loaf of bread would get smaller and smaller, and it would, like, the ends left. And then you were like, oh, what the hell? I'm going to eat the ends. And later on, I realized, like, the ends are better for you. The ends of the bread are even better for you. In fact, toast is better for you than to eat fresh bread. And even, don't laugh, but when bread is molded, all you got to do is take the mold off and still eat it, because the mold is not harmful. I mean, a lot of mold is harmful, but little pieces of mold, you could take that shit off. And from what I understand, it's even better for you to eat bread when it's sort of stale. Seriously. Because from what I understand, the bread swells in your stomach when it's fresh. So, like, stale bread is a little better for you. I'm serious. And but listen, I remember, like, just growing up hungry, man. And now, and then the thing is, like, fast forward back to what I'm talking about, like 20 years now later, people talking about how hard it is. What I mean, like, if you've been living in the same neighborhood your whole life, 20, 30, 40 years, you've been living in the same hood your whole life. And then all of a sudden you want to talk about how hard times is. Times have always been hard. The only time times wasn't hard in the hood is when crack was around, because everybody was selling crack cocaine. And they was making big money out there, crack money. And then eventually, you know, cops started picking up guys off the streets like Invasions of the Body Snatchers and throwing them in jail and giving them football numbers. But to me, if you ask me, it was all a plan. It was all part of gentrification. That was a whole, it was a ploy by the powers that be. But that's the only time in the hood when times wasn't hard financially. And that's when guys was walking around with $3,000 and $4,000 in their pocket, cash. Pockets looked like they had footballs in them. Big ass socks in their pockets and shit like that, because their pockets was loaded. But back to what I'm saying is, times have always been hard in the hood. It's always been hard. It wasn't like we was living in condos and mansions and shit like that. Times have always been hard, man. Always. Always been hard. So I just thought I'd say that. So, ladies and gentlemen, people out there, stop talking about how hard times is. Stop that bullshitting, all right? I'm out of here.
It's kind of cold out here. It's kind of cold out here. It's kind of windy, too.